Frantz Fanon is one of the most important thinkers of colonialism for his diagnoses of the harms of colonialism and the solutions he offers to fighting against colonialism. Now I'm going to recount his broad arguments in Black Skin, White Mask and The Wretched of the Earth that are quite similar and complementary, but really they're significantly different. Now, starting it with Black Skin, White Mask, he wanted to write this as his doctoral dissertation for his psychiatry program in France, but they didn't really approve it because it didn't really fall in line with the expectations of the program that he was in or the expectations of France as a colonial empire. Now, in this book, he talks about the ways in which colonized people are forced to adopt the ways of living, the language, the ways of eating, the types of food to eat, the cultures of their oppressors in order to be recognized as being a human being. So he says that in the case of himself, instead of speaking Creole, instead of speaking Patois, he was forced to speak French because that would be the way by which French people who held relative power would be willing to recognize him in some kind of humanity. Now he says that this process leads him to lose sight of his heritage, lose sight of himself, to lose sight of his own identity, creating a crisis in himself that he extrapolates to other colonized and enslaved people, and to diagnose this as a broad psychological malaise, hence why he offered this as his psychiatry dissertation, where he proposed that fighting colonialism is not just about physically removing and liberating a people from their colonizers. He says that the next step is for people to then acquire some kind of therapy to then liberate themselves from the colonizer that's still in their brain, that still encourages them to live by European ways of life and European standards while renouncing their own heritage and identity. Now, in The Wretched of the Earth, he takes this line of argument a little bit further. And he says, really, when we're talking about colonialism and anti-colonialism, we're talking about violence. And he says that this has to occur on some level, precisely because the virulent and violent logic of colonialism doesn't allow for peaceful resistance. It doesn't allow for just diplomacy to undo that relation, because it is a parasitic one. And so he says in The Wretched of the Earth that resistance has to take local forms, not broad-scale ones, because not everybody's experience with colonialism will be the same. It has to be local and specific to speak to specific people's needs and to project themselves into a new liberated future. Let me know what you think.